In this video, we decode the Norwegian training model dominating global distance running. Forget the go hard or go home mantra. The Ingebrigtsen brothers and Marius Bakken flipped the script on intensity distribution. Instead of one crushing interval session that requires days of recovery, they utilized double threshold days, morning and evening intervals performed at a strictly controlled sub-maximal intensity. This volume-heavy approach allows for massive aerobic gains without the severe neural fatigue and cortisol spikes associated with traditional VO2 max work. The secret sauce isn't speed, it's control, specifically using blood lactate to cap intensity during these intervals. While we don't all have lactate meters, the goal is to repeat high-volume work without ever crossing the red line into anaerobic debt. The process creates a feedback loop. Run the rep, check the blood data, and slow down if necessary to ensure the physiological cost remains sustainable for a second session later that day. Since most of us train by heart rate rather than pricking our fingers, we need to translate these lactate values into HR zones. The Norwegians target the specific window between 2.0 and 4.0 millimoles of lactate, which usually correlates to 82% to 92% of maximum heart rate. This is distinct from the gray zone we warned about in episode 3. This is deliberate, surgical time spent right at the aerobic threshold, LT1, and anaerobic threshold, LT2. How does this compare to the classic polarized 80-20 model we covered last week? While polarized training emphasizes the extremes, very easy jogging and very hard sprinting, the Norwegian model accumulates massive time in the middle. They argue that by avoiding the extreme mechanical stress of sprinting, they can increase the total volume of quality work, effectively raising the floor of their fitness rather than just pushing the ceiling. Physiologically, this works because mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of the power plants in your cells, is stimulated effectively at threshold intensity without the high autonomic stress cost of max effort intervals. By keeping the intensity controlled, an elite runner can recover in 24 hours rather than the 48 to 72 hours required after a true VO2 max session. This frequency is the key variable that compounds over months of training. For the non-elite, doing double days is likely overkill and an injury risk, but the principle of controlled hardness is a game changer. Instead of 5x 1000m at your fastest possible pace, try 8x 1000m at your half-marathon heart rate with short rest. If your heart rate drifts above 92% or you collapse at the finish, you went too hard. As Jacob says, it is better to go too slow than too fast when building the engine. Thanks for watching, and keep your intensity disciplined.